Hey everybody, I'm Josh.
I'm Billy.
And I'm Ashley.
And welcome to episode 10 of the Gedunk. We have
It's the episode 10 of the Gedunk.
All right, we'll redo it.
No, we won't.
Like we've never filmed this before.
Survivor season 42, episode 10 on the Gedunk.
On the Gedunk.
There we go.
All right, whatever, people.
Whatever.
Yeah. We got a very exciting episode of Survivor here. I mean, probably the best episode of the season, if you ask me.
And better than any episode last season, for sure.
Probably maybe the best season you've ever, or ever seen.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That was definitely the best episode I've ever seen.
It was really good, guys. It was
Best
really
episode
good.
I've ever seen.
It was good, people.
It was good.
Buckle up.
That's right. Take it for a ride.
High is gone.
Yes.
And Mike is kind of like bragging how he orchestrated the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's the maestro here.
Well, then everybody was happy he was gone, but yeah, Mike was going overboard, man.
Well, it wasn't looking good for him because that was the whole reason they got rid of High is because High felt like he was the mastermind behind everything, and now here Mike is acting that way. So it's like...
It's kind of interesting how people like step into like these voids of these roles sometimes. You
like
know
there
what I mean?
has to be someone that
someone's
got to
be the aggressive, like in charge, calling the shots.
Well,
and
then,
Mike's like, my turn.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
But there's a guy behind the scenes who's pulling all the strings.
Yes, there is. And he's doing it awesome. Well, he was for the longest time anyway.
Yeah.
But, well, then we also saw... what's his name? Jonathan get a little hangry here. So Dre called him hangry.
He was hangry.
You know, he's getting, and he brought up a good point. He said, "Look, man, he's like, I am double the weight of all these people here. Yet I'm eating the same amount of food they are. He's like, I'm hurting. He's like, my body's hurting. I'm tired all the time.
I don't think that's a good argument.
He's like, I feel weak.
And he doesn't know how. He doesn't know anyone else's. Because you have a fat person on there, probably gonna say the same thing, right? And no one's gonna feel sorry for them.
Yeah, but he ain't fat, man. That dude's all muscle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What difference does it matter if it's a fat person saying that or a muscular person saying that?
Well, he's not saying it to them.
Yeah, right. And the thing is, in this case, there is no fat people on the show, so he's right. You know, he's by far the biggest person on this show. You know, and used to eating, you know, what do you say, like 6,000 calories a day or something crazy like that, and now he's, you know, cut down to like a 500 calorie a day diet or whatever they're getting.
But now you have the smallest person on the show seeming to only do anything but eat rice.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
I'm sure that was a lot of editing job.
Like
awesome. They show Romeo just like pigging out on some rice like every other clip.
Throughout the entire episode, you actually don't see Romeo do anying but steal the rice.
Well, and then Mike's freaking gestures about it. He's like, Romeo's good at one thing.
Eating the rice.
He's like, that's what Romeo does.
Yeah.
He's by far the skinniest dude on the show. I mean,
so
what's going on
he
here?
could have an argument. He has the same argument I think Jonathan has. He's like, I have zero energy on this body to pull from at this point.
But on the flip side, though, Jonathan, we brought up a good point. He is actually the one doing most of the work in that camp, right? I mean, he's starting the fires. He's the one going out doing the fish and all that. So he is exerting a lot of energy where Romeo's sitting on that freaking little tree and just eating, you know? So,
you know, the rule of life is you don't do and show people what you can do without giving them the expectation that is what you will continue to do.
That's the rule
and can do. That is the rule of life.
That's the rule.
Trust me, I know, because
if you're good at something, don't do it for free.
That's right.
So, you know, he has been maintaining this camp and doing the fishing and all that stuff. So when he's like, they're going out to do it and they're like, you know, he's just talking him through how to use the net instead of actually, and they're like, well, you could help. And he's like, who was helping me the last like 9 weeks?
I get his point where people normally aren't that grateful when you do that. They just like take it for granted. Like someone came out and brought some fish in, we ate, cool, but they're not giving him any credit for anything.
Yeah, he's like, how about a thank you, you know?
So yeah, and then it was like the one time he's like, you know, I'm just like physically exhausted and just drained right now. I'll talk you through it, but like, and then the comment of like, well, you could help.
I think,
like,
I mean,
that would have been to me for someone who had been doing it the last, you know, umpteen days or whatever. I would have been like, where were you helping?
Yeah, but you know, I got enough energy left in my body to drown your ass. I'm going to take you out of the water.
Well, I could see it on both sides because he was not being that helpful. It was almost like he was like intentionally holding back. And I don't think it was just because he was tired. He was just kind of, there was something off about him where he just did not want to like contribute at that point.
You can't always be happy-go-lucky.
That's true.
Right?
No,
you know that.
He finally he finally showed a little hanger. Like I think she put it best when she said hangry.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's a perfect like description of probably what happened because like he's probably getting more frustrated because of that mentality and being hungry. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think probably on top of it, which he didn't mention, but I think probably on top of it, he realizes that they want him out, so he's got to keep winning now, right? Like, I mean, it's really his game is all on his own shoulders right now because he's got nobody really wanting to help him at this point when it comes to because he knows it's only a matter of time for they're going to try to knock him off the game.
You might want to be careful about his hangry outbursts then.
That's true. That's true.
Sometimes when you're hangry,
because you can do the world
can't.
for everyone and you piss them off once.
That's right.
That's what's going to stick with him.
Someone just needs to give him a Snickers.
Yeah.
You know? I'll change him right up.
Yeah, 1,000 attaboys don't match up to one screw up, right? So.
I mean, you give Romeo Snickers, maybe you turn into Jonathan. And then the amulet, Drea's amulet, now has like additional power because High's gone, so she can steal a vote with that.
Still a vote.
Stilla.
She can steal a vote.
Still a vote.
Yeah, she and who's the other one that has the other one? Lindsay. Yeah, can both still a vote now. Yeah.
They can steal it. No, that's how we say it now.
Still it. They can
still
a vote.
And then Marianne, she's losing toenails, and
that's crazy.
That's just normal.
She acts like
I
it's
go
normal.
through 3 toenails a year. It's fine.
Yeah, and Lindsay's like, dude, that ain't normal. Like normal people don't lose toenails all the time.
She's like, nah, I lose like 1 to 2 a year. It's fine.
Yeah.
She's like, how has no one talked to you about this your entire life?
Although we did find out some cool stuff about Lindsay, right? So Lindsay's always been a big time competitor, right? You got to see she played football like through middle school and high school and all that stuff, and she's
on the boys' team, for 6 years.
Oh yeah,
so.
and she's actually pretty ripped. You know, you're looking at Jonathan, I'm like, dang, he's a real dude. But then really, when you're looking at, and I never really noticed it before, but then I'm looking at Lindsay, especially when she's up there holding on, you can see, she's got a pretty toned body.
She's pretty ripped.
Oh yeah.
So it's interesting.
So that really makes sense why she's his number 1 competitor now, because she's by far the only one who's physically is almost in shape as he is, right? So
yeah. And competitive.
Right. So now Mike gets people together, and they say, we're going to go after Romeo. But when that breaks up, he starts telling people he's targeting Drea, and he just did all that to make her feel comfortable. What did you guys think about him going after her?
So I thought I liked Mike originally for his truthfulness, but at that meeting that he had with everybody, with Dre included, he's like, hey, I give you all my word. 5 of us together.
It's funny how that used to mean something to
now
him.
means nothing.
Well, he's already broken it now, so like he broke it with what's his name? So like
that's because he thought High was betraying him. Now he's on the offensive here, like he's starting off like that.
But his integrity's already been sacrificed. So
no, because you could probably justify and say High betrayed me first, so that made it null and void. But now there's no stipulation. It's like you did this.
His integrity's out the window at this point. And
so
that's one of the things.
My word is my bond.
That's one of the things I really appreciated about Mike. All throughout this.
Yeah.
And now that's gone.
It's hard to play Survivor honorably. It really is, because you're probably going to be at a disadvantage if you do that. So.
I give you my word. I give you my word. I'm down.
Well, and they kind of mentioned that, at the tribal, they're talking about, and Jess says, look, this is just a game, guys. He's like, it's a game. We're here to have fun. Somebody's going to win money, but at the same time, it's a game. You got to play it. So.
Yeah.
But he does try and, I think if you asked him, he probably would say he's playing with high integrity, but it's like, maybe before, but not so much now.
Yeah, exactly.
But they get to the do or die challenge, which we've seen from last year, but this one, it seems more interesting this go around.
This one was cool.
Yeah. Because last season, I think almost everyone played.
I think only two people didn't play last season or something like that.
Yeah. But this time they're given the choice, like, hey, you can play and possibly be safe, but if you're the first one out, you have to play this little game, and you're out. Nothing can save you.
And you got a 1 in 3 shot.
So this risk versus reward.
Well, they didn't even say the 1 in 3 shot. He just said it was.
He didn't tell them what the game was.
Yeah, it was just like a game of chance at this point. So.
Yeah, and they didn't know if it's a game of chance or if they had to do something or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and I like the way they go about it. So they give me each a purple rock, and a gray rock. He's like, all right, I'm gonna count to 3, and everybody flip. Gray rock if you're out, purple rock if you're in. So at least that way, there's no cheating. Everybody has flip at the same time. So I like how they do it that way.
Yeah, and apparently only 2 people opt in.
Yeah.
And it was the 2 you'd expect to opt in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now, was this smart for people to opt out, or how do you think it went down? Like, do you think it was smart for certain people to opt out?
I think it was smart for them only because of the way it went down, and they got lucky.
Yeah.
The fact that it played out the way it did.
Romeo's the only one that I think that should have felt like he should be feeling that he's on the bottom.
Yeah,
and when you're feeling on the bottom, like I feel like he should have been out. But Andrea maybe, but Drea has all these weapons to defend herself if she is.
Thought she would be okay because of that,
I could see her sitting out. So Romeo's the only one that I think probably should have played.
Yeah, but Romeo's a lazy bag of ass, and he.
But there's that, and he probably looks. Yeah, I didn't say that. But
I said it because it's true.
There is that, but he's obviously tired, skinny, like. Wasting away. He probably just looked at it as something he knew he couldn't do. You gotta start winning
these competitions, getting these burger meals and everything else.
That's right.
Well, and I'm guessing, too, he's looking at it and he's probably figuring Jonathan's going to go for it. And not really knowing who else is going to go for it, but he probably knew in his mind he would probably be the first one off. So
I think if you're actually playing the odds, whether you're good at the game or not, it's probably best if you do sit out because like if I sit out, I can't lose, right? And the person who loses at best has a 50% chance. Now they don't know this, but like you think
there's a chance they could go and I don't even have to worry about being
You're probably thinking it's 50-50 even if you don't know the details, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it can actually be like a 33% chance, depending on how you play the game.
Off the bat, yeah.
But it's about a 50-50, so you're like, okay, well, if I don't play, it's not going to be me. That person's going to have the 50-50. So there's a good chance that they will go, and if not, what are the odds it's going to be me who goes out after that? So
yeah, well, Omer made a good point and said it good. He said, look, when I was growing up in school, he's like, my parents are about education. You're going to go to classes and get straight A's. You ain't doing gym class. He's like, so me, I know I can't physically compete with these guys, so I'm not even trying.
If you knew you weren't going to be able to, like, withstand that competition, then and looking at the people that you're potentially going against, knowing that they will outlast you, then you could potentially be that first person off.
What's kind of interesting about this is they can see what's being asked to them. So if they went into that blind, then that might be a little bit better. But like they see it's an endurance competition, so they're like, this ain't my strong suit. So why would I play this?
Yeah,
exactly.
But if they were like not told or shown what the obstacle could be or the challenge, then maybe
that would have been cool if they'd have done it that way.
Yeah.
Why don't maybe? I mean, last time a lot of people played, so maybe they were thinking the same thing was going to happen. So, but I do like this twist of this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, then the question is, and you and I kind of talked about it briefly. What would have happened if Lindsay had opted out and then it was just
Jonathan?
Jonathan, does he automatically win immunity, or is it he's the first one on, first one off? And
you're the first one to go. So.
I'm guessing that he would automatically. I'm guessing they would have played it out. He would have gotten immunity, and then the whole like chance thing. Jeff may have said, "Okay, let's go," or he could have said, "Okay, well, we're gonna just give him immunity." Now we'll give the entire group another chance to do this again.
Yeah,
he could have done that, or they could have just held this chance thing to the next challenge at that point.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I'm sure they had to have a contingency plan for that.
So now, do you think this is additional conspiracy against Jonathan?
Nah, at this point I don't.
Because it's like Lindsay and Jonathan, and Lindsay's pretty good at this. So are they targeting Jonathan, Billy?
No, at this point... They the editors, the people, the directors couldn't have known the way this was going to play out. That everybody's going to sit out except Jonathan and Lindsay, right? So, I don't think there's any conspiracy theory against Jonathan in this episode.
But I do like it's the two of them against each other because, like, that's kind of how it comes down into all these endurance competitions anyway.
And Jonathan even said that, right? He's like, Lindsay's always been with talent competition, so here we go, let's do it.
And what she called Battle Royale.
It's kind of good and bad because you got two strong competitors going at it, which is nice to see, but it kind of sucks that one of them, whoever loses, could potentially go home.
Yeah.
Well, and Lindsay has been targeting Jonathan big time, and Jonathan hasn't been targeting Lindsay. That's the thing, right? So, but she's been trying to get him out past, like, at least 2 or 3 episodes. So.
Yeah, so they're up there probably for, like, what, like 10, 12 minutes or something like that?
I think around 12 minutes.
Yeah.
It was the last minute it was the last mark that Jeff said, "Hey, we're at 12 minutes."
Yeah, who knows how long after that?
Yeah, who knows how long after that was when Lindsay? It wasn't very long after that Lindsay dropped, but
still. Yeah, I thought maybe Lindsay might have an advantage with the whole like feet thing and stuff like that, but I don't know. She was shaking pretty early on.
Oh yeah, she was. Well,
so was he. That was
yeah.
Well, he I think was smart where he stretched his arm out into like almost like a pull up kind of thing.
But that's risky when you're in that kind of thing because like if you're changing positions and you've got your foot on that.
If you can just stretch out for a second or something, maybe that makes a world of difference.
Maybe another minute or two.
But he also has the length to do that. She kind of does.
And I think he also, as his arms were stretched out, was like providing relief to his feet too. Like you're not supposed to be able to. I didn't even think take one foot off, but I think he was kind of like hovering for a little bit there with his feet. You know, not putting at least all the weight on him.
But as long as he had that, but as long as he's still keeping that contact, that's all that matters.
Because I think when you're holding like this, most of your weight is going to be on your legs. So like with his arms stretched out, I think he was able to take the weight off his legs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Jonathan ends up winning, gets immunity. Now Lindsay's in trouble. But they're at camp. They're kind of deciding what if she's safe. What are we doing? And then Mike's going pretty hard targeting Drea, right?
Yeah.
But Drea starts feeling the vibe of the camp.
Yeah.
And she's like looking around and everyone's
talking, but not to me.
Yeah. it's like earlier everybody was including her, but not now, so it's like, huh.
Yeah. And she later at Tribal was like, when you go to the water well to get water and you come back without water, like...
or when you go get firewood and you come back and you ain't got firewood.
She's like, yeah, I'm going to raise an eyebrow to that.
Yeah, she's like, you're looking around, you're seeing people giving little nods and head shakes and all this.
And this is very interesting because she goes to Omer, and Omer's like, yeah, you know, we might need to get rid of like Mike, and people are kind of confirming kind of what's going on to Drea a little bit, and she reveals that she can steal his idol
to Omer, yep,
and then
only
maybe get him out.
Omer.
Yeah,
and
then Omer's kind of like on board with this now, but now Omer's like calculating in his head like various options, and he's like, wait a minute, I
wonder if
tell Mike, you know, about this, and he could give me his idol, and then she won't steal anything. Then we could get Dre out, and then maybe I won't even give the idol back to Mike.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's down at the beach with like a stick, like drawing this little flow chart, like I could do it this way, I could do, because he has all the like knowledge and all the power to be like, I can play it this way, and this will happen. I can play it this way, and this will happen. What do I want to happen?
Right, and then he's like, but if I do give Mike the idol back at the end, then I'm still got my little group of three with me, him, and Lindsay together. We're still super tight. He's like, so I'm gold that way. So he like plays out everything in his head, like where he'd still be good. Okay, I'll be good doing this. I'll be good doing this.
Yeah, and that's what's so brilliant. Like Mike thinks that was his idea originally, so no one like is cautious really of going to Omer with these plans, and Omer knows so much because of the way he's played, where people aren't really threatened by him or anything else. So it just
no one's
gives him
pointed
so
out
many options.
Omer as as any kind of option ever.
And he is like the guy who can just whisper in someone's ear and change their vote.
He's like the devil, man.
I do think he misplayed this one though.
Yeah, well, he left one calculation out in his strategy on this one. Yeah, no doubt. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
So they're getting ready to go to tribal council, and like you're like, is Drea the target? Is Mike the target? Is Omer going to do his last plan that he came up with?
You mean the same thing that happens every week that we see so far?
Exactly.
The exact same thing that happens every single week.
That's true. It's like, well.
And it's always
but again, like we think, like, well, Drea was the initial target, so does that remain? We'll see.
Yeah.
And they go to tribal and they have a very interesting conversation though, like because Drea's revealing like, hey, I noticed people were acting funny, and I always find it interesting when people reveal this before a vote, because like that could really influence things positively or negatively.
Yeah, because there's also, you don't know who else in that group is on the outside of those side chats too. So now you're giving them information like, oh, they were talking and nodding. I didn't pick up on that, but now maybe I need to like.
But then you have others who are on the know, like Omer and stuff, are kind of like shaking their heads, like, yeah, you know how it is.
Because even Mike's like, you know, people give you a look, and maybe you go to the place to get water, and that's like a clue to Drea too, because like, well, you went to get water, so were you talking strategy? And you know, when he said that, I was kind of like, you might be talking a little too much.
Well, then Mike brought up a good point too, though. He's like, you know, the other bad thing about this is that you could say something to somebody, and then maybe they take it the wrong way, and you're like, dude, that's not how I mean it. I'm trying to say, let's do this. So. Yeah, a lot of good conversation in this tribal.
Yeah,
for sure.
And none of this is really anything new. If you've seen Survivor, I mean, you know, but I don't know. Sometimes it helps to be reminded, because it helps you like focus on like, hey, these people did go do that. So what's going on here?
Oh, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah. Except for Romeo, who just sat there eating rice all day.
Yep.
Yeah. So then and Romeo's got to be feeling pretty good at this point, because his name ain't being thrown out there too much at this point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then now we know. So Mike had that, or excuse me, Omer had that conversation with Drea. Like Drea's like, all right, cool, I'm going to steal Mike's idol, right? So there's prior going in here. So going in here, we're assuming that Drea is going to try to steal Mike's idol, right? So
and that's pretty smart, right? And especially if you know he's targeting you, like why wouldn't you try to screw him over?
And what everyone's been telling you is that people plan to vote him out. So let's just take his idol. He'll be voted out. Everything will be great.
But first, we got to get to Lindsay. Because all this might not even matter, because Lindsay could be going home. So, so she Jeff presents the 3 box to her. He's like, one has flame, the other 2 are skulls. So pick a box and we'll see what's going on here.
And we had this discussion last season.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, though,
I think this is hilarious.
The way she did, the way she did it, she's like, my gut's telling me one of 2, and Jeff's like, well, you got to pick one of them. She's like, all right, the middle one, right? So she picks the middle one, and then Jeff's like, all right, cool. He's like, well, guess what? Now we're going to open up one box. And then, so they open up the box, and luckily for her, it's a skull, right? But then she's like, well, that was my other choice. So that was my other number 2. So she's like, I'm good so far. So then we had the same dilemma we had last year, which is crazy.
And here's the deal with this. When you're presented with 3 boxes, you choose one, you only have a third of the chance of getting it right. But the host knows which box the right one's in, and he whatever box you choose, he's always going to eliminate one wrong one. So when he eliminates one wrong one and then gives you the option to choose again, he's giving you the option to make it a 50-50 chance other than a 1 in 3. So you should normally choose the other box because now you have a 50-50. If you keep with your original, you're still sticking with the 1 in 3 chance.
Actually, the way the calculations work, it's supposed to be a 66% chance if you switch. And I don't know how that works, the whole argument to that. But technically, it's supposed to be a 66% chance that you should switch to the other box and you're going to win.
And you know, but, you got your nice...
But based on anecdotal evidence, it's not.
Not this show hadn't been.
You got the jury, you got half the jury saying stay, and then you got the other half.
High is like,
always
switch.
You got to switch,
always
you got to switch,
yeah.
you got to switch. And he's like, switch. And he's like mounting, and she's like, stick with my gut. Yeah. She doesn't switch.
Yeah, but bottom line, if you're playing the odds, you should switch and that's only if the host knows which box it is. If the host just says this and then opens that box, then you have that chance.
Yeah.
But generally, the way this game is played is the host is already aware of which box it's in. So, and last year, the same thing happened. The person chose one box, and then given the option, they stuck with it, and they were right. And then this one, same thing happens.
Dude, yeah.
Odds be damned.
I was like, wow. Yeah, that's
odds be damned if they played the way they should have. Both of them would have lost.
On Survivor, it works 100% of the time. So.
That's right.
If I'm going on next season's Survivor and I've watched these 2 seasons, I'm sticking with the box.
Maybe they're dumb and they're just like the middle box is the one. I can't remember which one.
I can't remember.
I thought he went for the far right one.
He may have, but I thought that was kind of hilarious how that works out because everyone will tell you to switch up and then you would lose every time on Survivor.
Yeah.
But anyways,
she's safe.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now all that conversing that happened earlier now really
comes into play. They're like, all right, game on.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, so let's go vote.
Well, now you got 2 people who are now immune, right? You got Jonathan who's immune and Lindsay who's immune because they can't vote for her now. She just saved herself. She's good. So she's not in the equation anymore.
So they've had all their conversations, and now it's time to go vote.
Yeah.
But wait.
There's more.
There's more. So Drea speaks up, and she's like, I got to read this little note that I got here. And she basically reveals that she can ask one person one time.
Just like last season.
Just like last time. And, if they have an advantage or an idol, and Jeff verifies that he can confirm that whether or not they're lying. So she turns to Mike.
Mike, do you have an idol?
And no, he did not.
She gets bamboozled, just like last season.
Just like last season. And then they do a little flashback. They're like, 1 hour before trial. Is when Omer presented the whole information to him or whatever and convinced him to give him the idol. So
and that's pretty... Like, man, he must trust Omer a lot to give him his idol like that too.
Well, he trusted High a lot too. So this is like the next best person that comes in and gets in his head. He's like, yeah, I'm with you. You're right. So yeah,
he likes to see the good in people. That's a
bold move. And I'm sure Omer's like, look, worst case she doesn't, and I give it back to you. No big deal.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And he's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, we're good.
But it plays in his favor because
Andrea doesn't. She laughs at him. She's like, "Okay, all right, cool.
You got me.
You got me. Yeah."
But here's the problem: you just realized that Omar betrayed you
because he's the only one that knew.
You now know Omer fooled you, so you know you probably can't count on his vote at this point. So you should be very nervous that you're the target right now.
And she is, as we see.
So they go to do the votes. She plays an extra vote.
The mistake I'd like to point out, other than the one that we'll talk about how it plays out in the discussions and what was said, is Omer should have actually voted out Mike. He should have still pushed out Mike.
Yeah, because then he would have had Mike's idol.
He would have had Mike's idol. We've flushed her, power thing. Now, I guess, and I'm assuming he should have made her feel more unsafe in that situation in the discussions, because if he could have gotten her to use it, vote for Mike, she would have been without her idol, and then Mike would have been the one to go home, and then he would have had an idol.
Here's the problem with that, though. Who's on your team after all that? Because you just betrayed Drea.
It turns out I don't know who's going to be on his team now anyway.
I don't know. Or what she could have done, she could have hung on to her idol. She could have used her extra vote and her still a vote. So at that point, she could have known Omer's against me. I'm going to steal his vote, and I'm going to use my extra vote. Boom, she'd have been good.
Yeah.
And at first you're thinking, like they always do, they try and make it closer than it really is.
Yeah, they go back and forth between Mike and Drea. Yeah. She lost by 1 vote.
Yeah.
I think it was 2, but I think it was 2.
Well, it was tied 4-4.
Yeah.
right?
No, I think she lost by 1.
Wait, no, there's 7 people voting.
Oh no,
There's 8
maybe
voting.
you're
was
right.
2, though,
Maybe
and she
you're
played an
right.
That's right.
extra vote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. 'Cause it was 3 and 3. Then they played the final one.
So
and there was
she-
Herb, and then
Yeah.
they played that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so if she had stolen the vote, then it would have been tied.
Yeah, exactly. If she'd have stolen the vote and used her extra vote, she'd have won.
No,
She
she
should
would
have
have
just
tied.
played an idol.
No, she wouldn't have tied because she would have.
She did play her extra vote.
Yeah, she did.
But she didn't play her still a vote as well.
Right.
If she
But
would have stole Omar's vote, then that would have been a vote. Then she'd have
Yeah,
turned
but
that
you're
into a
saying
vote for
she
Mike.
lost by 2. Do the math.
But this would have been 3. She would have had she stole Omar's vote and used her extra vote. She would have won because she'd have had 3 votes right there.
She should have played 9.
I don't
because-
see it. I don't see
Oh,
it.
no.
I don't see it. She lost by 2
Who else
votes.
voted for Mike?
So
What's
it was
his name?
4 and 4.
Romeo
Wait,
voted for Mike.
It would have been tied, I think.
it would have been tied because
Okay.
she lost by 2. So one of her votes would have
Yeah.
been the other
You
way. So
subtract
therefore
one, you
it would have
add
been
one.
tied.
All right.
So that makes a difference
Yeah.
of 2.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. We'll figure that out,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
That's a lot of math.
All right. But how she went out was awesome.
Oh, it
yeah.
was.
I
It
mean,
was.
I give her
Yeah.
props.
Oh,
She went
yeah.
out really good.
She went out classy, but at the same time, kind of screwing up people's games.
Oh,
but
I
in a,
loved
but in a
it.
nice
Yeah.
way, in a nice way. You know?
But
She
before
wasn't a
she
jerk about
even
it.
started like calling people out on stuff, she laughed, she stood up, she's like, "You guys, this was great gameplay." She
Yeah.
like high fived Mike, and then like,
And then she's like, let me spill some beans.
yeah,
Omar, you're the only person I told this secret to, and I want everyone else to know that. Marianne, keep being baked.
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
then she really now some shade's gonna be on Omar at this point because
Yeah,
she
I don't
says
know,
he's
though,
the only
because-
person I told. So therefore, it's like, don't think you can trust.
Yeah, but
this
Omar
guy.
is part of that group still, and he told Mike clearly because he convinced him. So I think he's still good.
But he didn't tell Lindsay, who's also part of the group. So Lindsay's probably like, why didn't they include me in this and tell me about this?
Yeah.
And actually,
he'll be all
Lindsay
right.
had her own
and
stress and
Lindsay's the one
drama
that
to deal with
started.
this
And
week.
Lindsay's the one that started that group,
And
right?
Mike
So-
is more than willing to take credit for all this kind of stuff at this point.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No
So
doubt.
Mike will probably be running his mouth next episode
Now,
of how
does-
he
Oh, yeah.
orchestrated this
Does
as
Omar
well.
give the idol back?
He might have to, because if he doesn't, then everyone's going to turn on him and feel
Well,
like
in the
that shit.
preview for the next episode, you saw
Yeah.
Mike crapping on Omer, like he's being shady, and it's like, wow, maybe he doesn't give him maybe he doesn't give it back to him.
I
Okay,
bet
now I'll
he
give it
tries
to
to
you.
say it tries to like have his cake and eat it too. Like, no, I'm not keeping it from you. But hold on to
Yeah,
it
hold on,
until
dude.
someone else uses it. Why do
What?
you need to give it back?
Yeah, what
man,
if
I'll
somebody
use it
else
on you
has
if they're
it?
voting you
Yeah,
out.
exactly. I bet he tries something like that.
Oh yeah.
But you got to be very careful to piss if you're pissing Mike off, because you still need numbers at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to do the number count. And if you're on the outs, it's like, what's going to happen then?
Mm-hmm.
And are there enough people on the other side with Marianne, Romeo, and those folks to turn it?
Yeah. Yeah, what was the funny thing you said, because remember Marianne said to Romeo, we're the 2 weakest players, but we got the power right now.
And I
It's
was
like,
kind of thinking, what power do you have?
Yeah, right.
She's
Yeah, it's
very
like-
powerful.
Like the
I
only-
think she thought that big group was so fractured that
exactly.
they're turning into multiple groups, but not really.
well, but then kind of, they still did target one of them in the big group. So
Well, I got to tell you right now,
Yeah.
everybody's focused on taking out stronger players. So
yeah.
right now, they are kind of being,
Which happens like every
Yeah.
season
Right.
for the most part.
so they are the two that could coast to the end
Yeah.
here.
But I did like the strategy, and I was hoping they were going to stick with it. The strategy that Mike came up with, hey, we're the 5 strongest players, those 2 are weakest, let's get rid of them, and then let's duke it out. And they were all like, yeah. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool. I was like, all right, I'd like to see that.
It'd
And
be
then,
cool
of course,
for us to watch,
yeah,
but not
exactly.
so cool for them to try to win.
Yeah,
Right.
the problem is when you give someone like an in to take someone else out, then
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're going to take it probably.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
Exactly.
like these two, like I want to be in the final with these two normally. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think we just watched the best episode of the season, unfortunately. I don't think any of theirs are going to top this one. It was just a great episode.
Well, I don't know.
It was a
Never
great episode.
know.
I hope so. I hope I'm wrong and that we do get some better episodes. But this one was. Oh, and we never had any crazy racial conflict come out of this. Like, she's not like I got voted out because I'm black. Or none of that. We didn't have none of that. She just went out gracefully, and so
Yeah,
that was cool.
again, they don't mention anything about that.
No, it's like you got married and it's done now.
I thought with them targeting Drea, someone would say something about it.
like Marianne, maybe. But
Yeah,
You know,
and-
Marianne was on board with the
yeah,
target.
Yeah,
do
which
it.
odd to
Yeah.
me too. It's almost like that never happened at all.
yeah. Like I am not gonna vote for her. After seeing this, but then now, like 2 episodes later, it's like, yeah, okay.
Well,
let's
like
figure
2
out.
more people went home, so I got
Yeah.
okay, it's
No,
fine now.
No, it's cool. No, yeah.
They just didn't win 3 back to back.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that too much to ask for?
Right.
Yeah. So
So yeah, well there we have it. Now my drink is done, so I think show's about over, man. So,
Yeah. Any
Yeah.
final thoughts here with anyone?
yeah.
I mean, Omar is pulling the strings right
Oh,
now.
big time. Big time. He is
He's
the puppet
making
master.
all the moves, even though Mike thinks he's making
that dude
moves.
is
Mike
what he
is just
accused
a
High of
pawn.
being. He's what he accused High of being, the puppet master, and in reality, he's the puppet master, right? So
Yeah. But Mike thinks he is.
But
Mike
who can
thinks he
compete
is.
with him?
well,
As far as his strategy?
middle game right now, nobody. And that dude just got one
Yeah.
hell of a game. Well, he did until he just screwed this up. Like I said, that's the one thing he did not take into consideration. Like, oh, maybe Dre will throw me under the bus after we boot her off, and that would suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that is an issue though.
I guess
Could
we'll
be
find
for
out.
somebody.
Who's that going to convince that that's a problem?
Someone who's listening to him or trusting him?
Right?
Yeah, I don't know. He's talked a lot of strategy
It's
and convinces
hard-
people, so that's just one more thing. And I
When
think
you
it is
s-
starting to add up, but
When you
Right.
see someone behave that way and break someone's trust that they've trusted for a while, then it's hard for you to
but
look at that
Mike was
person and
doing
be
the
able to
same
do
thing to
trust.
Drea.
That's true.
And if you ask me, his was worse because he's
Look, here's
like,
the deal.
I give
wouldn't
you my
trust
word.
anyone. I wouldn't trust anyone at this
Right.
point.
No,
Like,
yeah, I agree.
They're so close to the end then that they can taste that $1 million. And it's like, they're not going to care who they hurt or step on to get there.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a little sad for them, but
Well,
they can wipe their
Jonathan's-
tears with their $1 million.
Well, Jonathan's hangriness get
They're
the
like-
better of him.
They're like 600,000 after taxes.
Well, you know, don't tell them about the taxes
Right,
yet.
right.
Like,
Jonathan-
let them live in this little bubble of no
Jonathan's
tax.
hunger get the best of him in future episodes.
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I don't know.
Maybe.
They need to catch one of those little shark things to feed people.
Nah,
or
I'm
something.
still rooting for Jonathan, man. I'm hoping he pulls it off, but yeah, we'll see.
They need a food challenge stat. Jonathan says.
Oh yeah,
So.
yeah, he needs some grub, man. He needs some grub, or else he need.
Probably eaten more than
Now
the
I will
rest of
say
them.
he's had those opportunities where
Yeah.
Romeo hasn't, so maybe that's why he's looking
I was
like the
going
bottom
to
of
say,
the
he's
bowl.
probably eaten the most of everybody there.
Yeah, he probably has.
That's
He's
what he
probably
earned.
wrong
But-
about that.
But he earned it.
That was for survival mode.
Yeah.
Like, he had to earn it. And he's
He
like,
earned it.
I need that cheeseburger.
All right, who's winning?
I don't know. I would have said Omer for a while, but I'm thinking he ain't gonna last after this. I'm thinking
I bet someone under the radar is probably going to win this.
maybe. There's only
Marianne.
200 radars right now.
Marianne.
It might be Marianne.
I think it'll be Romeo.
But I would still like to see
Nah.
Jonathan win.
I don't think anyone's going to vote for Romeo if he made it.
Nah, nobody's gonna vote for Romeo.
no.
Nobody likes that dude. He just coasting through right now. So yeah, even if he makes the final 2 or final 3, however they do it, yeah, he ain't
Which
gonna
is
win.
why he should.
Yeah.
If you're one that wants to beat him.
Yeah.
Lindsay might have a shot because
Yeah,
she's
oh, yeah.
Lindsay,
good in challenges
She
and
does have
she's
a shot,
pretty
no
smart.
doubt.
So
if Jonathan's eliminated before Lindsay, then she has a strong shot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Next week's competition will probably come down to Jonathan
Well,
and Lindsay.
The sad thing is, unfortunately, we saw it last, and we disagreed with the decision last year. Is at the end of the day, it didn't matter if you make it to the last 2 or 3 or not. You still might not win because at that point it's up to the jury to decide whether they want you to win. So even though Jonathan freaking pulled his team through time and time again, he was the fisherman. He did all this stuff just like Xander last year.
Yeah, but
doesn't
Xander
mean
didn't-
anything. Doesn't mean anything in the end of the day.
Comparing
Hey,
it to
might not.
Xander last year, Xander didn't argue his point well enough.
yeah,
That's
he
true,
he
that's
really
true.
did a poor job.
Yeah,
in
he
that
did.
final
He did.
three,
That's
but-
true.
I don't know if that would have helped in that moment, but that's what it's going to come down to.
Oh,
if
absolutely.
Jonathan is in the final, he's got to point that out because right now he tries not to point it out.
But here's where
But he needs
Jonathan
to
falls
at the
apart
end.
is strategy. Yeah, he's winning physically, and I don't think anyone can argue
He's just
against
trying to
that. But, like,
outlast at
when
this
people
point.
are saying, "What did you do from a
Strategic standpoint.
strategic standpoint?" I don't think
you
he could
steal
say
anything?
much.
Now, what would be smart for Omer? I mean, if it came down to him and Jonathan at the end, I think he would win. And I think it would be smart for Omer to recognize that. But you know what? I just need to team with Jonathan here. Let him pull the weight, get us through this stuff. And my strategy of that, not only that, but everything else I pulled here is probably going to get me the vote at the end. So,
And I think strategy carries more weight than physical competition.
right, exactly. So
Yeah.
I think he should really just team with Jonathan and have Jonathan be his workhorse. And
Well, I can tell you, I am like 90-something% confident that if Omer makes it to the end, he's winning.
Right.
It doesn't matter who he's up
No, I
against.
agree.
Oh, I think so. And he deserves it at this point.
Yeah. But can he make it to the end?
And that's why I'm saying he needs to team with
You know,
Jonathan.
the game is
Well, he has an idol, so-
Right.
outwit and outlast. And right now, he's outwitting,
Oh, yeah.
and Jonathan's outlasting.
Right.
But
I would
who's-
love to see Omar
doing
just go,
both?
you know what, I'm going nuclear this week, but I'm using my idol, so screw all you guys. I'm going to be around for at least one more week.
That'd be interesting.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess we'll find out what happens. But, hey, guys, it's been a great discussion, a great episode. Like I said, I've only watched this show for 2 seasons now with these guys, but I am enjoying it. This season I'm enjoying much better than last season. But hey, let us know what you think in the comments. Please hit like and subscribe, and we will check you guys in the next review.
See you guys.
See ya.
All right.
All right. All right.
All right.
All right.
Jesus. Jesus. We're back.
We're back.
Are we? Are these microphones
Wouldn't be
even on? Like, would
That's why people wear headphones, people.
that's why people wear headphones. People.
Yeah.
People.
Talking to people about people.
So why should
About
it
the
be?
people.